Hello and welcome to Global Solutions. My name is Adedayo Fashanu, and today we are the World Organization Scout Movement for the first World Conference. And I am seated here with an interesting set of people, and you will get to know more about them shortly. But first, I'm going to let them introduce themselves, but I'm going to try to do a bit of introduction. They're under the Messengers of Peace of the Boys of the World Scouts organization. And so this is Pamela, and this is SS Solim, this is Mary Lewis, and Kevin. I need that other name I didn't get. Baskuda. Okay, so I'm going to start with Kevin Baskuda. So you tell us, about yourself and what you're doing at this conference. Just an introduction. So we'll talk about, we'll do this. We're going to introduce each other first, and then we will go into what your program is all about and the exciting stuff you're up to.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm Baskuda from Cameroon, and I'm scout since more than 20 years. And actually at the conference I was engaged as a member of the planning team of the forum. And for this conference, I work for the digital engagement department. So I'm in charge of the page of Twitter and Facebook for this event. So I'm really happy to be here. And it is another experience and skills that I can add to my CV, for example. Next one.
Okay. I'm Marie-Louise Cossier. I'm here as international volunteers. I come here to support them, to learn more with another scout here. It's my first World Scout Conference. I'm very excited to see lots of people with different countries, and I work in media department. I'm here also like a speaker during the break session to share our project made in my country in peace and dialogue. Thanks.
Thank you. I am Pamela Akplogan, and I'm from Benin in West Africa. And I am the chairperson of the Youth Advisors in Africa. So I'm here as a youth representative. I'm also in the translation team during the 41st World Scout Conference. So it's also my first conference, and I'm so excited and I feel privileged. I'm a youth activist, and I stand for girls' education, women empowerment, and youth rights. So I'm happy to be here and learn more about my amazing organization.
Thank you. I remember.
Thank you very much. I am Solim Asoti. I am from Togo. I am here as Dialogue for Peace facilitator. I am Dialogue for Peace trainer in interreligious and intercultural dialogue. And I am here to support the team presenting here to help to promote more the Dialogue for Peace, as is the most newborn program in the scouting since some couple of years now, and also promote the launching of the first Dialogue for Peace badge. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Amazing set of people, So I really want us to talk about the programs that you all are doing. I guess the project under the Messengers of Peace, right? So you all have individual projects that you're working on under the umbrella of Messengers of Peace. So let's talk about that, and we'll take the conversation from there, because I know there's a lot to talk about once we begin. So who wants to go first? I'm going to leave it an open table. Okay.
Thank you. For the implementation of the Vision 2023, we have a strategy priorities, which is to strengthen scouting profile. And in this framework, in the Africa region, we developed a project called Youth Correspondent and Spokesperson Program. And we implemented it for the first time during the Africa Scout Jamboree in Côte d'Ivoire. And we trained more than 100 young scouts who were involved in the program to be scout ambassadors. And this program is about to let them be more involved in scouting, know more about scouting social impact, and how, as a young person, they can help people to join the movement and spread its social impact. So this program is the first in Africa, and it's going to be implemented in the whole world. So I'm happy to represent the program, not only because I'm a youth representative, but I believe that through us, people can know more about scouting. We are Scout ambassadors, and we must know that through our action, our behaviors, our attitude and activism, scouting can be more known in the world. Thank you.
Okay, yes. Who wants to go next?
Boys for gender equality. Yeah. Yes, for gender equality. So, as you said, we was in the same event, which was the Jamboree, the 70th Jamboree, African Jamboree, and we have just duplicate the idea who have been launched in Japan, in the World Scout Jamboree in Japan a few times ago. And the idea was to have an initiative who is calling Better World Tent. And the Better World Tent is to present Better World Tent. Yes, it's the Better World Tent who present the Better World Framework. As the Better World Framework is a place where we have all our program, the little program that which is running in the scouting. So since a couple years in Africa, we are more engaged in development, community development, in protection of the environment and in peace globally. So we have tried to reach young people, young African people, to know about this program, how they can put their little action in one main idea. So it's the reason why I have been the one who have been in charge of the Better World Tent, and we have tried to present in each program. But especially for this Better World Tent, I was also in charge specifically to the Scout of World War program, and I have tried to present to the young people that it's possible for them to have a good action in their community, and specifically for people who are between the age of 18 and 26. So that is one of the main programs of this World Scouting, and that's what been my role during the Better World Tent and this experience in Côte d'Ivoire. So Marylis was the one who have planned the world event, and she invited us because we are for different countries. She invited us, and we for different countries have tried to each of us lead one program, and it was really amazing. If I remember, we was around 20 people coming from different countries and to help for that. So actually we have just few people from this team, but we are more than 20 I think. Yeah, people from Namibia, from Kenya, from Cameroon, from Tanzania. A lot of people was there for share this idea of the Better World Framework.
Okay. So, okay, next.
Okay, I will do my best to speak English. Okay. For me, I manage the global project, but specific fields is the peace training. We made a panel about the contribution of scouting on the building of peace, and we organized this panel to give opportunity at one platform to youth people to express, to exchange about different experience and different community. We got 200 youth can discuss with our scout leaders. We have our chairman of World Scout organization, our director of African region, and the facilitator of KAICID, and youth advisor. We organized this panel to break the barrier between adult and youth. In Africa, the real problem is the intergenerational problem. You have not a lot of discussion between youth and adult to develop our region. Is important to communicate, because youth can give good ideas to build something or make a lot of good things, and adults can share experience. And why not to exchange, to discuss, and learn more between these persons? Yes, two generations. We make it, and I put both in this panel to discuss. To say not only adult to discuss with youth. In the panel, the speaker is adult and youth. And Pamela is a model of this youth. It's important this youth know that the voice of youth count on the decision making. And after this, we make another training to make a ambassador for peace. It's very so close. You find and choose some people we want to engage, like ambassador for peace in different country, in my country too, because it's an opportunity to get lots of youth of different country. We train them how they can got ideas, work on, and make a small project can change the life of another person. So they know that it's time to take action, to take a leadership, to create peace. And after this training, they want to engage to be ambassador of peace. Okay? Thank you.
And
For our side in the Beta tent, we are used to deal with the Dialogue for Peace. Dialogue for Peace is the program run by KC King Abdallah International Center for Interreligious and Intercultural Dialogue, with partnership with World Organization of Scout Movement. It's a partnership who help us because of the knowledge and the experience of the KAICID to go with the scouting method, because they think that scouting is the better method to bring that message of peace through intercultural, interreligious dialogue to the world. And as an education movement, they approach us and they lead us in trying to match with our strategy and their understanding to build a program, a common program that's matching with scouting and also with the realities in the ground. Then I have been trained, I am training of trainers, I make many training. And during the Jamboree, the essential thing has to be that we did a training. We trained couple of 25 fellows about intercultural and interreligious dialogue, and also we have a booth where we are sharing materials, game that can lead you to know just by little acts how you can feel better and promote dialogue, and especially intercultural and interreligious one. As far as in this world and in our continent Africa, we have most of issues that are not very good for us. Like we have complicated issue. Dialogue, we don't say it can solve them all. It can solve some of them, but with the dialogue, we can understand each other very well and then try to go to another status of the relationship between people, like whether we can increase the rate of understanding, and we hope that increasing that rate can help people to be more to be more peaceful and more understandable. But also in the dialogue, as we believe it in the KAICID, we think that dialogue is not something about conflicts are not something about bad situation, because with the conflict we can take opportunity to learn about each other, learn about something else. So it's not a real negative way. It's the way we approach it and the way we try to deal with it that can bring the result. Then we sometimes when we see in the conflict situation, yes, of course, there are many conflict situations, but when we see most of the situation, everybody wants the other person to change or wants the other person to try to overcome, but we forget that we have to do it by ourselves. So it's what we try to share with the others. And then today we are happy because most of youth are interested and they are more conscient, they are no more aware about that issue, and then they are trying to do their best. And sometimes what's very good one is sometimes they come back to say, okay, we are at this stage, how can we improve, and that it shows that things are going on the field and on the ground. And we just hope that in the next time it will be very good and it will be increased more so that we have some kind of standard peaceful world as we hope in the scouting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I just want to add that apart from the issues, we have a lot of great stories from Africa and around the world that is about scouting. So this is why they draft the project, which is the Youth Correspondent and Spokesperson project, to share all the stories that they are talking about. So we help the young people to write articles or post videos and photos on our website, www.scout.org, which is our the global website of the movement. So whenever you want to know more about scouting projects, programs, or great stories, you can just check on scout.org. Yes.
2011 London riots. Also
Okay, welcome back to Global Solutions. And we're still on the topic, but I just had to let my head down because I am with my peers and we have real conversations to go into. So what you just said was an intro to the projects they're having. But let's talk about your on-ground, the work that you do. And you mentioned, Pamela, about, real success stories that you've experienced or that other members of the project are experiencing. And I want us to talk about the success stories because this is solutions, right? And there has to be success. The news we hear so much is negative. But while we're not going to ignore the challenges that young people face, and from your experience in promoting the message of peace values, let's talk about a success story and understand, maybe as a case study, right? And then we can now break it down. What were the challenges that this individual faced, and where are we now? I mean, does that make sense? What do you think? Okay, do you want to go ahead? Or who?
Okay, because we have done our project in Ivory Coast, and because we have MOP heroes here, I think the good thing will be to talk about this project because she was one of the first person in the group of African who have been trained for MOP issues, and after that she was go back to her country and Ivory Coast. If you remember, Ivory Coast will be in trouble during 2010. C'est ça, vous étiez en trouble à la guerre, c'était en 2011. Voilà.
De 2002 à 2010.
Yes, 2002 and 2010. And during this period, these ladies, with some of people scout from his country, have tried to do a corridor between the two sides, and they provide their help for transportation of food, transportation of medicine, transportation to assure the security of young people who go to school, women who go to the market, and that was really one of the really good story that we have from our team of MOP. And due to that, she received an award for the global award of MOP, and I think it could be one of the case that we can study, and maybe she will have the time to explain more about that. And I think that many of them have looked this project and have been inspired by this project, and each of us have tried to go back in our country and try to do something not necessarily similar, but something which have a great impact like what she have done. So I don't know, maybe Marie-Louise, you can...
Yeah.
Okay.
Ton projet MOP, en fait, ce qui t'avait inspiré, qu'est-ce que ça consistait?
Okay. Okay. And for our project, what is inspired me, because he told that we have experience in political crisis in my country, and the youth, lot of youth was they used to make a war, not to promote peace or not to make to don't do another things. And after this period, I think that it's the time for the youth to change their mind, not to make politics, not to make war, to take comment on dit? Guns to make a war. It's now to reorient, is good? Reorient this youth for another good things, to another good action. And how to reorient this youth is thanks education. And I prefer, I can ask and make another activities, but I prefer to strengthen the capacity of this youth and give them the skills to make another action, to say stop. We don't need to take gun. You need to make peace, to rebuild our house, to get job, to know the more good things for the youth, for the futures. Because it's important that youth to be now active and responsible. Yes, responsible. Yes, responsible. Is why I make a focus in the training. If this youth know how can talk with my friend for the project, for the future, to make a project, to be comment dit, entrepreneurship. Yes, we can grow the economical, the social things in our country, and like this, we can create a peaceful, the situation peaceful, and we peaceful situation and live better, because African people so tired with war. So tired with political crisis. It's time to rebuild our village, our town, our region, our country, because it's our case, not foreigner come to build our own country. So with this, it's good to perform them, to empower them to change the life of African region. Is why we make this training about peace, dialogue, and how to can make the meeting, for example, for her, how to share the stories, how we can get a beautiful face of Africa when we can share your good story. If you don't know how to share your story, nobody can know what's happened in Africa. What's happened, what good turn you can make for your community. We have a project like Food for Life. They make a small farm in the village, in the school, to can get your own food. It's very interesting things. How to can share this story to inspire another guy, another other village to know that I can do the same in my country. That is very important, to get inspiration in another African youth. Not all the time in the TV or this for different, because we have the same case in different country, but same case, similar situation. You can, each of us should be a model, not to be angel, but share what is good in your life, in his life, and I can make similar things in my country. And got a good thing in the mind, change our spirit. That's it.
Yeah,
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Marie-Louise, for inspiring us. I need to say that she is very inspiring, actually, and congratulations for being our hero. Uh, apart from peace, I want to talk about the humanitarian part of scouting. Um, Due to scouting, we saved the life of 80 children in my country. And how do we do that? It was during the rainy season in my country. They become homeless due to the waters. Water did destroy their home, the parent home, and they become homeless. And most of them become orphans. How can we help them? We hear the story, we scout, hear the story in the country. It was in a village, far from the town. And we hear the story and we were like, how can we help? What can we do? Then we went to the village and we asked questions to be certain that it is a real issue in the village. So after that, we built a team of 12 volunteers, and we went to the village, meet the leaders, and tell them we want to help. For a period of 4 months, we raised like 150,000 francs CFA to find foods and clothes for the kids so that they can actually feel warm and have people to support them. Then we went to see also sponsors and donors to help us get a place for them in orphanage. So after that, after we found place for them in orphanage, we discussed with the leaders and tell them that we need them to support us. We are an NGO. We do not have a lot of money, and we could not save people from issues like that. We can only help. So it was like a kind of advocacy to get support from them, and then actually we find like famille d'accueil, host family for the etiquettes, and actually we pay the fees to go to school, and actually they are all at school learning, studying and enjoying their childhood. They have family, they have home, they have foods, and they have people behind them to support them, and all of this is about scouting. I mean, when we talk about things like that, it's looked as it seems very simple. It seems like very natural, but when you get to that place and look at those people smiling, they are happy, they are enjoying their life, you can understand that you are doing something great. You don't need to be millionaire or billionaire to help people. You just need to have a purpose, to have a passion, and to believe that whatever you are doing, even a small action, can change a whole life. And through scouting, actually, and my brothers and my sisters, I believe that we are helping many people around the world. And no matter the issues, no matter the wars, no matter the crisis, we are human, and the most important thing in this life is to be human. Thank you.
Wow. And really, we have to acknowledge even that story, that program, that act that that humanitarian act. You know, it really moves me. You know, these are stories personally that I hear, and I'm like, wow. And you're able to do this, you know, through the scout movement, being a scout, right? Do you have any stories to share?
I have various stories to share, but I will just take some little ones. And the communities where there are some little issues, like in Burundi, in Congo, we have some scouts we are trained, and then they try to go into communities, trying to make activities together. Sometimes when it's possible, it's only the scouts, but when it's not possible, it's the scout with the non-scout, but when it's not possible, they do it between scout of two parts. And also in Ivory Coast, in that jamboree, we did a big forum one day, and then we was visiting a university center, and we was exchanging with a technical scout, a technical youth which were not scouts. Then that place we discuss, we share the scouting first. We tell them what is scouting, what is our vision of dialogue, what is their vision, and then we talk together how can we all afford the problem, the issues that are facing our youth in the Africa and in the youth in general. Then it was very fruitful because at the end of the day, that day, we can feel those all the youth, they know more about dialogue, and they was very aware about the scouting, and they can discuss and they can adapt those things. So such meetings, when you feel at the end that you have given an impact, you can be happy, and as our founder said, you can be happy that you are living this world, or you are putting your step in this world, so print in this world to let it a little bit better than you found it. Thank you very much.
Isn't that what the scout is all about? Creating a better. See, I am a scout. Yeah. So I just wonder about when you look at youth on a global scale. Isn't it beautiful that you guys are young minds? I am a young mind too, and we are talking about global issues. We're talking about world problems. We're talking about solving things that we see is not so right in our communities, wanting to make a difference, wanting to make a change. And I don't know if you're with me on this, but the energy for our generation feels very different. It feels like we're more awake, we're more aware, and we want to really create a change, right? So what are some of the youth issues? And I asked these questions yesterday to some youth advisors of the Scout that I interviewed, and some of them were like, we don't want to be biased because youth issues, when you talk about youth issues, there's so much. And I was like, so they were like, so picking one issue over another doesn't really seem fair because you kind of like put some people out. But at the same time, I still know that it's different for each person's perspective is very different. So while we're at the table, I know that I want each of us to pick out one issue, and let's note that you picking out one issue doesn't mean you don't respect or you don't regard the other issues that are there. But I want you to pick one issue each and just kind of elaborate on it. What's an issue that personally bothers you the most in the youth, amongst the youth, and what's a proposed solution to it. And then after that, unfortunately, we'll have to round up because I know that there's so much to talk about, but because of time and everything. But let's do that. Who wants to go first? Do you know? Okay. Pamela? Okay.
Okay. First of all, I would like to thank you for inviting us. And I would like to say that in scouting, I feel that I'm a success story because my whole life is about scouting. I joined scouting when I was 8 and I lost my dad the same year and I found a family. So everybody, every youth who are looking at us right now and hearing us, you must know that you are valuable and you count for this world to be a better place for each one of us. What kind of issue do I want to talk about? The first one will be about gender issues. Not because I'm a woman, but because I believe everyone matters. As a woman who is ambitious and looking at standing for leadership position in this world, till the 21st century, I just realized that we still have gender issues in this world. And these issues is a kind of killings, the dreams, the futures, and the energy of a lot of women and girls around the world. And I believe that whenever we stand for the girls' rights and women's rights in this world, whenever we value them, promote them, and give them the chance to be educated and stand as a leader, they will change this world. So the first issue that I want to talk about is gender issues. And we must be conscious about that. Gender issues is real. It's not about preaching something, but it is real. And I actually dealing with that. As a young woman, black and ambitious, I'm dealing with that. And I know that there is many women and girls who are dealing with that. The second one is about lack of education, which is a consequence of, consequence is unemployment. Youth are facing unemployment. We are scouts. We love to volunteer. We love doing creative activities to make impact. But we need to have money too. Scouting don't put food on the table. Let's be clear with ourselves. We love scouting, but we need to have money. We need to eat, and we need to have we need to have a life that in which we feel secure and we feel happy. How do we get there if there is a lack of education, if there is a lack of employment, if there is no money, or whenever you get the chance to have a job, people don't pay you well. So youth are facing unemployment. Even in scouting could not provide work or jobs for everyone. So I think that this also is an issue. And what can scouting do to change this situation? I mean, for the youth. First of all, yesterday we talked about including the entrepreneurship skills in our triennial plan, so that through scouting, people can be more aware about entrepreneurship. They can stand for their passion, make it as a project, or run their own business to have money. And the second thing that scouting can do is also to make partnership with private and public sectors, so that youth can be more involved in their sectors and find more chance or opportunity to apply for jobs, etc. And what about the gender issues? We just vote, or we just carried an amendment about gender equality in scouting, talking about governance. And I think that it should start from the grassroots. Whenever we start at our home, from home to our unities, from unities to districts, from district to national level, and from national level to international level, scouting will be the most largest movement to promote or value gender equality. Thank you.
So beautiful. And who's going to go next on this topic?
Yeah. The question is really interesting because at the last forum, at the last conference and the last forum, the previous one before this one, we was talking about a document that the scouting have made, whose name is the global trend, about all the trend for the youth in the world. And in the same area, we have also in scouting every year we have a triennial plan, and since the last triennium we have 6 priorities. And one of the priorities that I think is important is our impact, social impact, because definitely we want to have to make action every time to change the life of people. Not only to make action just to be like a star and yes, I have made it, and people will take picture and share it, but when you made an action, you have to be ensured that this action can change the life of the people. Like Pamela said, with this project, with that people who have been victim of the weather, it's important to have that impact. So we try. I think the most important is to have the impact in the life of people. And if you reach this level, sorry, I'm sure that it is the most important for me. So, and related to that is the question, like she said, about the gender, but more about the youth involvement and the youth engagement. And I don't have the clear statistic of that, but I'm sure that in this world we have more young people and more young women than elder people. So if you take all these people and you work together to have a great impact in the world, I think the world could be better, like we say in scouting. So that is a kind of issue which interests me, and for myself, we try every day to work on that. For example, we are here and we try to do our best for a couple of weeks to inspire people, to share experience and to take many ideas of people. And after that, I'm sure that when each of us will go back home, we will have yes, we can implement that. It's sure we will be tired, but we will share with other people and try to compare the thing who is good in Ivory Coast, or the thing which is good in Togo. How can I implement that in my country? How can have the same impact stories that maybe is redone in Togo? How can I bring that in my country and change that? And I think is the global issue, the main issue that I'm taking care. I want to do simply like that.
Thank you very much. All, all what we are talking about is all about encouraging youth, empowering youth, sharing skills and everything. But for me, the big challenge is that for the all those issues or all those actions to be successful and be more active and more impact, to have more impact, they have to be shared by the youth. Like the youth which is in the center of those action has not to be like a observer. He has to be in part and in the center, in the action of the thing. Then how can he do it? That's the solution is scouting. That's why we want to strengthen the scouting. Helps the youth to be more conscient about what happened in his world, what is happening around him, what is the real concern, what is the problem. Not only having fun, but only seeing which world in which world he is living, what is this world facing, where are we going, where are we coming from. And then that's why we can try to help, because all the youth sometimes they don't know what's going on, and that's how they can be manipulating or being inside some situation that they really don't understand. And sometimes it's difficult, as you know, to educate or to change somebody who has been already through a system, even though it's a wrong one. Then scouting is some kind of program of movement that we can encourage, so that at the basic style, at the when the youth is in scouting, to show him how can he manage to have better understanding of the world in which he's living, and then how he can know to take action by himself, kind of leadership, so that he will be active to make the difference. And then when somebody will see him one day with the scarf and in the uniform, scout uniform, and say, okay, I realize now why this young is different than the others young. And then we will help to increase that that number of active citizens, and then we can have a better world, as we all want in this world. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. It's very interesting, and my brother and sister say a lot of things, and I can't repeat. So, for me, we have a lot of issues in environment case, and education, entrepreneurship. But for to go there, they start when we are kids. I think that to create a better world is to start to build a good features for us. For example, support kids to go at school. To speak about gender, it's important that the kids, women kids, a girl, go to the school to get education, to know that you can know my right. If you don't, the girl don't go to school and never think that I have right, I have the same right, we are free like this. It's important to encourage our kids to go to school. Let the work of children and the place of children in the school. If our children go to school, they can learn more and make they can be like good person to can say, oh, I have a lot of skills. I can make my own company. I can make my own business. And I think that this environment is not clean. It's not the case of another person. It's my case. Because I don't go in the school. I don't learn a lot of things for nothing. Yes, so it's important to make a project, to give a scholarship for the youth, for example, to renovate the school or find the village who have not school. Why not some volunteers can go to support them to learn. In my country, they have someone to make a solar park. This solar park help the kids not get light in the country to study. It's very interesting. You can promote environment and promote education because the children can learn to build their futures.
Well. I mean, we can go on and on. I always say when talking about solutions, it's very broad, and when you now talk about young people and the issues but without further ado, I want to say thank you for joining me. It's been it's been such a pleasure, hearing about how you guys are being ambassadors of change generally, of being change makers, and understanding the reality on ground, and just being yourselves, which is passionate, caring, inspiring, and I'm very glad that we're doing this. Well, that's it on this episode of Global Solutions, and we're going to see you again on the next episode. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
2011 London riots. Also
Thank you.